everyone, so I just finished doing like 3 videos, but I really wanted to make this one. Hopefully it's not too long. But I am still not over the last episode of Shadowhunters, so I kind of wanted to keep talking about it. So let's do it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about a few theories and stuff that I have for the next part of the season 3B. So as we all know, as we all watched in the finale of Shadowhunters, so that happened. So yeah, Clary and Jonathan are gone, and Simon thinks that he killed her because like there was an explosion. They're no longer there. I would have thought, okay, well, if they were there, you'd see like their body or something. But Simon thinks he killed her, and then Jace runs up there and he's like, where are they? And he doesn't know where they are. And Simon's like, Clary's dead. And then he starts crying, and Dom, because of the amazing actor that he is and the amazing ways that he portrays sadness, he started making a crying face, and then that made me start crying, and that's just really unnecessary because he does a really good job with that. And I don't appreciate it. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about some theories and like the comparisons between the book and the show, because as you all know, or if you don't, I have been doing videos for each and every episode since season 1, and even since before season 1 when they announced that they were even gonna do the show. And so I did a video for all of the actor announcements and all that good stuff, and I like to think of myself as a relatively optimistic person. So like the movie that they did, I really like adaptations, even if they're not done exactly like the book, because a movie is not the same medium as a book, and I really like to see the differences that a writer, producer, director makes to make the story stand out on film. And so when the movie came out, I really didn't like it. I didn't like the actor choices for the majority of the actors, and I didn't like how they it was more true to the book, but it was like just kind of weird. The only thing that I really liked about the thing the most was Magnus Bane. I feel like the actor that they chose to play Magnus Bane was absolutely perfect. He looked amazing. He looked the part, like so good. But unfortunately, his looks didn't equate to his acting ability, I felt like. And Magnus and Harry just bring such an amazing light, and he does Magnus so well. And so even though I really liked how movie Magnus looked, I didn't really care for how he portrayed Magnus Bane's character. And I feel like Harry not only looks the part, he looks amazing, but he also just like really, he does Magnus Bane so well. And Magnus is my favorite character in the entire Shadowhunters world, the Infernal Devices, Mortal Instruments, and the what is the next one called? The one that's going on right now. But he is my favorite character out of all of them. Like, I have my individual favorite characters in each trilogy, but Magnus is just my default favorite character. So yeah, what happens in the books, I don't remember if it's City of Ashes or Glass. It's one of those. I don't remember. I haven't read the books in years. But it's one of those middle books. And so kind of basically the same thing happens. Lilith is trying to raise Jonathan. Jace is going to go and help them. But in the book, Jace gets caught up in everything, and he ends up being the one that's linked to Jonathan. And they disappear, and Clary and everybody needs to go and find him. And so what they did in the show is they switched that. And they made Clary be the one that is now linked to Jonathan. And Jace is the one who is free in terms of not being possessed and not being controlled by anybody. And so what I was thinking, I'm like, okay, well now I like this. I like what they did in the show for several reasons. I love this change. Out of all the changes that they've made so far, this is probably my favorite one, because like I was saying, when I really like adaptations of books to movies, and there have been several instances where I like the changes more, not just in the show, but like just in other stuff. And it's not even because I like it more, it's just because like I already read the book, so I already know what's gonna happen. So when I go and watch it, I either want like an exact replica of that, and if you're not gonna give me that, then give me something new. Give me something fresh. Like, I already know the story. I already know what's gonna happen. So now that I'm going to the movie theater and that I'm going to watch it on screen, give me something that I don't already know. And like, I'm just gonna go off on a tangent here, but like a really good example of that was Breaking Dawn Part 2. Yes, I was a twihard and I still really love it, and I watched Breaking Dawn Part 2 the other day in its entirety. But anyways, so yeah, it's right here. I have it right here. What's up? Breaking Dawn Part 2. So this movie, because you know how it was in Part 1 and Part 2. So at the end of that, spoiler alert for the end of Breaking Dawn. So Edward can read minds, and his sister could see the future, and that one Volturi guy can also read minds, but only when he's touching you. So there's that scene in the book when all three of them are all together, and so Edward is touching his sister, or is reading his sister's mind to see what's going to happen in the future if the fight actually happened. And then the Volturi is touching Edward and is like seeing what would happen in the future. And in the book, all we see is that. We don't see what could have happened. We don't see what is going on inside their minds. But what happens, and so in the book, then like everything is resolved, everything is fine after that. Then in the movie, they actually, without telling us that this is going on inside their heads, they show us what would have went down if they actually went to war. So like Carlisle would have died, Leah I think would have died, Seth died, a few other people would have died, and like just so many people would have died, including the majority of the Volturi. And so they show us this, but they don't really tell us that this is like going on inside their mind. So it's not until the end of that scene where the Volturi guy, the main dude, I forgot his name, when he dies, and then we come back to reality and we see that this was all just going on in their minds. So that's what I mean. Like, the same thing happened, but they tweaked the story a little bit so that we got a little bit more. And what's happening with this storyline and with this change is that they're basically just giving Jace's storyline to Clary, but in a way they're enhancing it because of the fact that all we've ever seen is Jace suffer. We've only ever seen him like having a hard time and being possessed and being this and being that and having like identity crises, and like, so now we get a change, because if they would have kept the same thing with Jace, it would have just kind of been repetitive, and it would have just been another storyline of, hey, we need to go and save Jace, which is like what we've already done a couple times. But now we need to go and save Clary. And why I like and the reason why I like the change so much is because of that. So we actually get to see Jace a little bit more. We get to see who he really is, and although he is going to be suffering because he is going to be putting blame on himself, and because he is going to be suffering in regards to that he doesn't know where Clary is and he needs to go find her. So we're gonna see that. So we're gonna be able to see Jace like with his family, with his parabatai, with, you know, Izzy and Maris and all of them, and we get to actually see that. But so, which I just really like, because we haven't really been able to see Jace too much with like his family, and I just really want to see that. And another reason why I really like this change is because doesn't it just like make more sense that Jonathan would need the life force of his sister? Because I know that in the books, the thing with Jace and Jonathan was that they were both raised by Valentine, and they were both, you know, had the same upbringing and stuff, which is fine, which links them fine in that way. But Jace and Clary and Jonathan are actual siblings. So like, they have the same blood, even though Jonathan has the demon blood, but they have the same parents, they have the same lineage, they have the same everything, and so it just makes more sense that they would be linked. And I also just like it because we're actually gonna get to see a little bit of dark Clary, which is gonna be great. I'm so excited for that. Also, like I said, so Simon, this all happened right after the thing went down with his family, when he almost killed his sister, and when he had to hypnotize his mom into thinking that he was dead, which was really sad. And then like not even a day later, within the same night, he has to go do this, and he thinks that he killed his best friend. And this is a spoiler for like much later on in the books. So seriously, if you haven't read, like, if you haven't finished City of Heavenly Fire and like that Simon Lewis book of his, cover your ears for a minute. I'm gonna put my hand up, and when I'm done, and when I put it down, that'll mean that is the end of spoiler. But so Simon right now is a vampire, right? So what happens later on in the books is that he actually becomes a Shadowhunter, which is crazy. And so after he becomes a Shadowhunter, he gets a parabatai, and his parabatai is Clary. So the fact that they are just so connected already to the point where they're going to become parabatai, like I can't even imagine like what is going through his head. He thinks that he killed like one of if not the most important person in his life. All right, spoiler over, so come on back to me. So that's another reason why I really like that it was Clary instead of Jace, because now Jace and Simon can kind of share this guilt in the sense that they can help each other with saying like, hey, it's not your fault. And also, it's not your fault that any of this happened. Simon is going to feel guilty for potentially killing Clary and, you know, being the one that made all this happen, which he didn't. And then Jace is going to feel bad because he's going to remember all the things that he did when he was the owl. So he's going to remember throwing Clary off of a building and almost killing her. He's going to remember all the things that he did. And then so Simon could help him with being like, you know, this isn't your fault either. So I feel like they both have this kind of guilt, and so that they can help each other with, you know, releasing some of that guilt. And also, quick side note, I really wanted to congratulate the actress that played Lilith. I think she did an amazing job. She looked amazing. She portrayed Lilith amazing. She was so feminine and dominating and kind of like, I don't know what I wrote a note here. I was like that she was terrifying, and she just really brought Lilith to another level, and I really like how she did it because she just did a really good job. And also, so I didn't realize this until yesterday, or until I learned this yesterday, but Will is not going to be coming back to play Sebastian or Jonathan. Two brothers, same guy. Luke Baines, so look him up. I did look him up. Let me just do it again. But I did look him up, and he looks the part. He looks fine. I just don't have any idea what this guy, I just don't really know anything about his like acting abilities. But and apparently, hold on, a lot of the movies he's been in have been like scary ones, like The Girl in the Photographs, The Possession of Michael something as Night Comes. Those are all kind of creepy movies. So I mean, Demon Blood Jonathan is supposed to be a pretty creepy guy, so I have faith in this man. Hold on, it says Luke Baines is an English-born Australian actor best known for playing the serial killer in Wes Craven's final film, The Girl in the Photographs. So like, he's played really creepy characters before, so I am optimistic, and I'm looking forward to his portrayal as Jonathan. Alright, so let's get into some theories, shall we? So, in the books, it gets to the point where Clary finds Jace and Jonathan, and she ends up going with them away from everybody else. So it's just the three of them for a while. And then there's a part where, because Jonathan he's like demented, and he just is not normal. And so he loves his sister, but like in a really weird, like incesty kind of way. Like at some point he like almost tries to rape her, and it's like just a really dark part in the book. And so I'm just really curious how they're going to portray that on screen, because they can't really go that dark with the story. So I'm just curious like to see what they're going to do, because he has this demon blood in him, and he has this weird way of loving his sister. Like, he's never kind of experienced that love before, so he doesn't really know how to express it. He doesn't know how to express his love to his sister as a brother in like a non-weird way. And so I'm just curious to see how they're going to do all that. And then also, because they are linked, Clary is not going to be possessed, but she has this link, so she's going to be a little bit different. She's going to be a little bit darker. Like, she's probably going to change, which I'm looking forward to because I want to see Dark Clary. But if they follow the same kind of points in the books, there might be a point where, I mean, there were already pictures. I'll put pictures around so that you can see what I'm talking about. They already released. They didn't release, but there are some pictures out there already. And so there's going to be a point where Jace kind of reunites with Clary for a little bit. So I'm interested to see how that relationship and dynamic is going to be and going to change now that Jace is like free and Clary is now trapped again. And so I want to see. And also, this is another theory for what I've already talked about this before, but I will say it again. So I have a theory for how this show is going to go. So if you've read City of Heavenly Fire, you know that at the end, Jonathan actually does die. And so not only does Demon Blood Jonathan die, but the brother that Clary never had also died. So the normal non-Demon Blood Jonathan comes out for a good 5 minutes, and then he dies. But before he dies, he gets a chance to talk to his sister, because Jocelyn doesn't ever die in the books. So he gets to have a moment with his sister and with his mother as the Jonathan that could have been if he hadn't been possessed and injected with the demon blood. So that I remember being so sad at the end of that book because that was just so sad. Like, this guy never got a chance at life. In the womb, he was already given like the short end of the stick. He was already like injected with the demon blood when he was in the womb. So when he was born, he had never gotten a chance to have a real normal life with his family. And so what I'm sincerely hoping for, and I'm gonna put this out there again, what I'm hoping for is that, and now I'm like a little bit even more hopeful for it because of this change that Clary and Jonathan will be linked. So I'm hoping that the same kind of deal with City of Heavenly Fire goes down, but that instead of dying, they figure out a way to get the demon blood out of Jonathan so that he can continue living as Jonathan, as Clary's brother. And I feel like that might even be more possible now because of the fact that Clary and him are linked. And not to say that in the books they were willing to just like let Jace die with him, because they didn't, but now I feel like Jace has even more incentive, I don't know, like to separate them and to get whatever is in them out of them, and that includes Clary and Jonathan because of the fact that they're linked. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope I am kind of saying what I mean to say, but I'm really hoping that that goes down. How it happens in the book happens, but that it changes once again so that Jonathan can actually get a chance at life, because in the show, Jocelyn was killed. Clary doesn't have her mom anymore, so I would love for her to have, and like Luke is her family, Luke is her dad, like blood isn't always thicker than water. She has Luke, but she'll also, because of the fact that she lost her mom, I would love for the show to give her the chance to gain her brother, like as just her brother, like without the demon blood. So that's what I just really want to happen in the show. And I'm hoping that we're actually getting to that point. And if it doesn't happen, and if they have a better like ending, so be it. But that's just my theory and what I'm really hoping happens in like the future of the show. But yeah, I think that is all that I wanted to say. Please let me know if you think anything the same. It comes back August 15th, and I will be much better at uploading regularly when the show comes back, I promise. Yeah, so like, what do you think is going to happen in the show? What do you think is going to happen because of this? How do you think Jace is going to manage? Do you think he's going to go off on a bender? Do you think he's going to focus more? I personally think that he's going to do whatever he can to help Clary, and that doesn't mean that he's going to go off by, it might mean that he goes off by himself. I'm really hoping we get more scenes of him with like Alec and Izzy and Maris and like his family and Simon. I really want to see more of that. And yeah, I have never been more excited for the show, just because of the fact that we really don't know what to expect. Like even the book readers, we don't know what to expect now because of the change. So I'm just, I'm very excited, and I am very much looking forward to the rest of the season and future seasons, and I just hope, and I'm sure it will be amazing. And so yeah, please leave any comments down below. What do you give me any of your theories? Tell me if you agree with mine. What do you think about the Luke Baines change? Yeah, I think that's all that I have to say. I think that's all I have to say. So if you have any, like I said, theories, anything like that, if anybody else have theories, you can like link me to Reddit or whatever it is. But yeah, let me know all of your thoughts. Let me know if you agree with mine. And that is it. Hopefully they come out with teasers and trailers and stuff, and I will react to those whenever they do, because the show doesn't come back until August. And I start school at the end of August, I think. My last semester in college. I finished my 4th year, but I have one more semester, and then I graduate at the end of the year, but I don't walk until next year. Anyways, whatever. But yeah, see what I mean? I just ramble. But yeah, so let me know everything that you think down in the comments. Spam me, flood my comment section, yo. I love getting comments. I love talking to all of you. But yeah, so thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.